Hello and welcome back to another quick hobby tips video. Today we'll be covering my favorite way to paint tanks and pretty much any vehicle. We'll be using a technique that comes from the scale hobbyist part of the hobby. It's a way they've been painting tanks for a very long time. It's very quick, it's effective. You can scale it up easily to make it more intricate. But also if you need to bang out a full motor pool for Imperial Guard, you can. Today we'll be using some of these older tanks that I have. I printed them out a long time ago. They're from Red Makers. If you really like them, you can find the link down below. This is not sponsored content. I just really like these vehicles and I really like their sculpts. I'll also be using some bits from Deadly Print Studios. They'll be down there below. First thing we do is base coat the entire model in black primer and then Vallijo black gray. Next we take a mix of 1:1 gray black and Vallijo Sombre Grey and we shoot this into the middle of the panel. We want to cover the panels pretty much right up to the edge of where the recess would be, and we don't really want to get paint in the recesses if possible. You can be a little messy, it's not going to be the end of the world, but if you can, try not to get out of it. I'm doing everything with an airbrush today, but you can do this with a dry brush as well. We just want to work around the model. Any panel that looks like it's a separate panel from other ones, there might not even have to be a recess in between them. We're going to try to individually shoot those panels with this first layer of paint. Next, we're going to use just straight Vallijo Sombre Grey, and we're going to go back to each panel and shoot our airbrush or our dry brush into the middle of the panel. We really want to be careful here. We just want to get to the middle of each panel. We don't want to get, definitely not in the recesses, and we just want to work our way slowly around the model and make sure that we're covering each panel with this paint. As you start working it, you'll see that we're bringing this gradient together between the two colors because we took a step, basically a half step in between each color. It should be a nice gradual gradient on each panel. Next, I'm going to use Vallijo Gunmetal Grey metallic colors to base coat all of my metallics. That's the treads, any muzzles, any muzzle tips, antenna, stuff like that. Next, I'm going to use Screaming Skull, which is a copper from Citadel. I'm just going to cover my multi-melta tips with this. I think the copper works really nice with this blue-gray scheme we have going on. Next, we're going to move on to our oil step. I have just straight oil, black oil here, thinned down to a wash consistency. And I'm going to show you both ways how you can do this model. One is a recess shade, which you can see me doing now. And also, I'm going to show you what an all-over shade looks like on this model. Two different ways to do it. They give different results of the model. Of course, an all-over shade is really meant to tint what we have, but it does work really nicely on this model because we are having all these individual gradients on the panels, and it helps really blend them together. But recess shading also works great. For recess shading, I'm just filling my brush up and I'm touching it to a recess. And I'm letting the capillary action of the oil flood the recess. Here I'm being a little messy with it, but I did that on purpose just to show you that it's pretty easy to clean up. I'm even using a paper towel here to clean up this extra oil. If you're using a makeup brush or a Q-tip, it's even easier. Like I said, two ways of oiling these tanks. Depending on your color scheme, if you're using a lighter color scheme like a white or a gray, recess shading is going to look a lot better because it's going to have more impact. Next, to keep this super simple, we're just getting a big brush and we're going to dry brush this whole model in pale gray blue. We're really aiming for the edges of the model here and the rivets. It really makes the model pop. It's very simple, easy, anyone can do this. It's fast and it works great. Next, we're going to start our OSL on our plasma cannons and other bits. I'm just going to use Liquitex white ink here to cover all of the source lighting and do a little overspray for my halos. In general with OSL, if you just want to be safe, keep your halos small. You don't have to worry about too much where the bounce light, where the reflections are, if you're not well versed in where those should be. As you can see here, I'm just also adding some more white to my cannon explosions because I'm going to be using fluorescence coming up. First color for the cannon explosions, I'm going to be using a fluorescent orange here. Normally I would start with a yellow fluorescent color, but I think the orange works well here. I actually end up going over this orange with a little bit of yellow. Doesn't really make a difference. Orange is the way to go for this. You don't need the yellow. Moving on to the plasma explosions, if you want to call it that, I'm just going to use Citadel Frostheart. It's a great color for base coating on any sort of plasma effect. It's really nice. It has good coverage, and I'm just going for an even coat over every single bit that I'm doing plasma with, coils and all. Next, back on my cannon explosions, I'm going to Vallijo Bloody Grey. It's a nice bright red. I'm going to be covering most of this bit in this color. I'm really only leaving the orange at the tip of the back where it would be closest to the muzzle, but also towards the inside of this model, kind of where the shell is jetting out of the smoke from. I'm going to keep that orange as well. But most of this model is going to be covered in this red. Moving on to my last step in the gradient here, I'm just going to a black gray from Vallijo, and I'm really just hitting the tips of the smoke clouds, covering up a decent amount of the red here because it's not like you're shooting fire, it's just an explosion coming out of the end of a cannon, so it should change into a cooler smoke relatively soon. To finish off the plasma, I just wanted to keep it really simple. I'm just using sky blue through the airbrush, and I'm just kind of giving everything a zenithal, hitting the tips, adding some differentiation into each bit to show some lighting effects. Again, very simple. I could step this up a few more ways with brushwork and stuff, but I just wanted to get these done. Just show you how quick it can be to get something really nice and effective. And there you have it. Very simple way to paint a tank. This is a great way for a beginner to come at it. It's also a great way to start. You can start with these models, get them on the table, start playing, have a great time, and then step them up another time. There's a whole lot we can do here. We can do more weathering, we can do more stuff with the tracks, we can do more edge highlighting, we can do a little more gradient work. There's a lot of work to be done here. I didn't do any decals, nothing like that. There's so much we can do, but this is a great starting base for any vehicle you're gonna do. If you liked the video, please share, comment, subscribe, all those things. Like the video. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.